Hey guys, this is Illusion Podfic, and today we're going to be reading A Golden Child Painted Red by Ezra 129799. Alright, and this is Chapter 2. We know who you are. You're a murderous crime lord with absolutely no chill, said the Green Lantern, aka Hal Jordan. Jason was considering just using all our actual names to take the piss, but it would probably get him in a lot of trouble. It would be funny though. He hadn't actually spoken yet because if you learn anything from movies, never say anything without a lawyer. But that's actually not why he hasn't spoken. He hasn't spoken because these aren't the people he wants to speak to. He wants Batman. He wants to speak to his dad so that he can get off this damned space station thingy and back on Earth. Come on, man, just talk. You don't want us to get the Bat in here, do you? We hear you lot are scared of him. Nice threat. But also, that's exactly what he wants. That's what should have happened ages ago. The Red Hood is a Gotham-based criminal. He should be speaking to the Gotham-based hero. Jason's quite lucky that his helmet is so difficult to get off his head, if you don't know how. The Lake had tried to get it off to no avail, and that is the only reason his identity is still a secret to the heroes. Jason. He was getting the hang of the crime lord stuff. It was difficult to balance with his daytime activities of remodeling beat-down complexes adjacent Todd. He was proud of the work he had done. He had managed to save the people that could be saved from the cycle of crime, and also managed to give the people who couldn't a safer job, which funds even more projects to better Gotham. He's become the backbone to the city as both identities. He was originally naive enough to believe that, with a bit of charity and time, all of Gotham's criminals could be transformed into upstanding citizens. But he soon realized that the world didn't work that way, and that he would have to get his hands dirty. If he can't get rid of crime, he can at least control it. So instead of letting the crime families run wild, Jason created Red Hood to come and swoop up any possible henchman and pay them more than double what anyone else was offering, while also giving the benefits of healthcare and better living conditions. What did he use these henchmen for? Mostly remodeling buildings and as security for anyone out on the streets of Crime Alley. When he told himself he would get his hands dirty, he meant it. The only person in the whole operation who planned his killings is the Red Hood. He's the one who murders the drug dealers who deal to children. He's the one who kills the rapists and the child traffickers. He's the one who deals with the other murderers in the area. His men just provide security on the streets. They stand guard on most corners, and if they see someone being mugged or attacked, they deal with the situation. At first, people were skeptical of the Red Hood and the people lurking on every street, but soon they realized that they no longer needed to watch their backs at night. They no longer needed to clutch their belongings until their knuckles turned white. They no longer needed to share their location with their friends in case they got abducted or killed. It wasn't an immediate change. People still had every right to be scared. But there were less desperate people on the streets. There were less people who relied on violence and more people who relied on Jason. Practically the whole city needed him, whether that be Jason Todd or Red Hood. And he's never felt more important. He was also getting the hang of lying to his family. Even though he wasn't part of the Bats anymore, he still got updates on their cases. He still got told to look out for his specific profiles and tell them if he hears anything particularly criminal. So it makes sense that he got told to watch out for the Red Hood. It makes sense that he got told how irritating the guy is, because he always somehow hates them. It makes sense that he got to hear Bruce's confliction about the man. It's somewhat amusing that Red Hood is sat across from him, and they don't know. This insight into the Bat's plan is crucial, because it means he can move the times and dates that he plans to steal weapons or intimidate people. It means that he can move people around depending on how many Bats are going to be there. Tim. As he looked up at the white painted ceiling, Tim considered his place in the world. It's clear his parents never gave him any attention. Which is fine, by the way. They were busy people after all. But Tim thought that, now he had Bruce, someone would care, someone would be proud of him. But after many comparisons to Jason, it became clear that Tim won't even be enough for Bruce. And Tim didn't mind that. Well, maybe he did a little bit. But it wasn't a big deal. It's just that now Red Hood has popped up. Bruce has started letting Tim out on the streets less and less. But instead he's lying on his bed, hidden from the city. What's worse is that Bruce has somehow managed to compare the Hood with the rest of his family, saying that he is clearly trying to do good. And that he's just gone about it in the wrong way, that the Red Hood has done more for the city than we have. How could Tim fail so spectacularly that a murderous crime lord is better than him in Batman's no-killing's eyes? How could they all let Gotham down so much that someone has to step in and help them in such a brutal way? Bruce. He's not told anyone about this stakeout. The reason the Red Hood has been able to evade them so far is probably due to the cave being compromised, which is not ideal, so he's not told anybody that he's staking out Crime Alley. He learned quite quickly that the men on streets are there to protect people in all areas of Crime Alley, rather than just where Red Hood was, which is smart of the Red Hood guy. He also found out that none of Red Hood's men will ever rat him out, purely because the man is a mystery to everyone, henchmen included. So because he can't interrogate anyone, Batman is on top of a building hoping to catch a glimpse of the red helmet. He's been here for hours, the cold starting to nip at his skin where there is less armor, the occasional rumble of a car driving this late at night, and a surprising amount of people walking alone on the streets below him. He's not seen a single mugging or attack of any sort. He's not even heard any catcalling or arguments between drunks. What's even more surprising is that the street lamps all seem to be working, all turned on and shining bright, which isn't seen anywhere else in the city. There are even lights placed in alleyways, all accompanied by men stood on guard. They all appear to be on their phones. Some seem to be looking at surveillance footage, some playing games, and some texting or calling someone. The Red Hood had clearly realized that the police are corrupt, and instead of trying to scavenge for any of them that aren't, he simply replaced the police with other people who will enforce the law. Maybe this new crime lord hasn't been all that bad. Jason. He gets a call at about 10 p.m. "Hey boss, the Bat is here." "Where is he?" "He's on top of the museum." Why is Bruce wasting his time on top of a museum when he has the rest of the city to look out for? There's barely any crime in Crime Alley anymore. There's no reason for the bats. Well, except probably him. High vantage point? Check. The museum is quite tall. Looks over a large area? Check. You can see down a whole main road and down some side streets. The Bat is on his stakeout? Check. Before, Jason wasn't running into much trouble. Well, maybe a bit of trouble, but he dealt with it, mostly with guns. Now that the Bat had made an appearance, it seems Jason is running a bit low on time. If he gets caught by the bats, which he probably will, then there's no way that he will be allowed to continue. The only way Jason can think of getting out of this is by stopping killing people. Make it clear to the family that Red Hood only killed to get the reputation and evil guys off the streets. Sure, he'll have to come up with a new way of dealing with the rapists and child predators as he moves into the rest of Gotham, but Jason reads. He has a lot of creativity. He's sure he can find a way. He'll also get that idea planted into the heads of the family when he goes for family dinner. They're bound to talk about the Red Hood and his methods. It's all they ever talk about. He decides it's too risky to be out for much longer, so he makes a quick dash for an apartment building with a safe house. Changes out of his Red Hood stuff, hides everything away, then walks down the corridor to the elevators, goes down to one of the lower layers where another safe house is, and promptly falls asleep. Alright guys, and that is the end of A Golden Child Painted Red by Ezra129799. Hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you next video.